So do you want to get through the Conquest board in MLB The Show 20, but you're not quite sure exactly what you're supposed to do? I got you covered in this video. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Conquest because honestly, I feel like the tutorial that MLB The Show gives you is not very good, and it's not a very good description of what you actually have to do in Conquest. If you find this video helpful, feel free to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if this video is something you want to see more of. If you want to see more tips and tricks, feel free to stick around on the channel. But let's go ahead and talk about Conquest. So basically, Conquest is a board game in Diamond Dynasty. It's very similar to the board game Risk. I'm going to be using the full United States Conquest map, the one back here, the one that gives you Willie Mays. I'm using this as the basis because this is the biggest one, and I feel like once you kind of understand what you're supposed to do in this Conquest map, you kind of have an idea of how to approach every other map. So in order to understand this game mode, you got to understand what the actual objective is. So on the Conquest map, all these individual spaces, these are all called territories, and then all the ones that are occupied by a major league team, the Rockies over here, the Oakland A's, the Giants, these are all called strongholds. Strongholds are still territories, but in order to take those territories, you have to actually play the game. You can't simulate those. And the goal of Conquest, the overall objective, is to control every single stronghold on the map. Now, if you want to get the full 100% completion and get all the rewards that come along with it, you have to capture every single territory on the map, but that is not really hard. Once you start capturing strongholds, the territories just become kind of like tedious. It's pretty easy. So how do you go about capturing all of these different strongholds? Well, the name of the game in Conquest is really controlling as much of the board as possible. Conquest is a turn-based game mode, and you have 4 different phases in each turn. You have the attack phase, the steal fans phase, the reinforce phase, and the move fans phase. Each of these phases are going to have their own individual purpose, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with the attack phase because that is the first phase of Conquest. So for the attack phase, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using the fans that you have, and you're going to be attacking other territories throughout the board. So you just hit whichever territory has whatever fans are in it, and then you can go ahead and you can go to any one of these tiles and start, going after them or whatever. By the way, if at any point you feel like you make a mistake or you're not on a good track, or you're just having a tough time doing it, you can always press start and just go down and restart the board. So that's always an option. But normally for the attack phase, what I recommend to do is go up here towards the top left hand side of the map. But I've noticed so far this year that the other teams are a little bit more aggressive, like the Rockies and the Twins, and even the Royals will be really pushing your stronghold. So what I recommend doing off your first move is kind of reinforcing around your stronghold a little bit. Just get some ones in there to make it just a little bit more tough. And once you have the last territory, you're going to get these games simulated across the board, and then you're going to be jumping into the very next phase, which is going to be the steal fans phase, which I'm going to talk about here. All right, so now we're in the second phase of the first turn, which is steal fans. This is where I feel like a lot of people kind of get confused. They're not exactly sure what they're doing at this point. Steal fans, basically, you can press X and you can choose to steal fans from any of the teams that are still remaining on the board with a stronghold. So at this point, all 30 teams are still on there. And if you press square when you're on the map, you can see that the Rockies have 6 million fans in their stronghold. You can see the A's have 6 million, the Giants have 6 million. Everybody's going to start with 6 million, but as the game goes on, if you just press square, you can see how many people have. So if I decide to steal some fans from the Colorado Rockies, let me go down to their team really quickly. Where are the Rockies? Right here. You can see on the right side that I can play on any of the 5 difficulties, and depending on what difficulty I play on, if I win the game, I can take that many fans. So if I play the Rockies on All-Star, I will steal 3 million of their fans. So those fans will come to me, and the Rockies will lose. So instead of the Rockies having 6, they'll have 3. That all sounds great, but I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys, you do not need to play the steal fans phase at all. If you go back to the actual goals of the Conquest board right here, you are gonna have some missions where you're gonna need to steal fans. That's if you wanna get all the rewards for the entire thing, but if you're just talking about how to actually beat the game mode, you don't need to play this phase. Literally just press start and go to skip to reinforce. You really never need to play the steal fans phase. You're gonna be playing a ton of games on Conquest, 30 games to capture all the other strongholds. you don't need to play any games more than what you already have to do. All right, so now we're in the reinforce phase. This is the third phase of each turn, and you can see down in the bottom left-hand corner, it says we have 2 reinforcements remaining. Now, why do we have 2 reinforcements remaining? Well, once again, if you go down to the game details in the bottom right-hand side, we still have 6 million fans, but if you look at what we've done, we've spread those fans out. We now have 6 spaces on the board occupied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For every 3 spaces you have on a Conquest board, you are getting an extra 1 million fans added into your reinforcements. And in my opinion, that's why it's so important to just go after a lot of territories first versus going after any of the strongholds. I know people like to go after the Rockies right away or the Twins or something like that, but really what I think you should do is go up here and start capturing as many territories as possible so you get more reinforcements so you can start getting higher matchups and easier wins. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to put the reinforcements into this tile right here. We're going to put all of them right there. So now we have 3 million fans in that territory, and we have now moved on to the final phase, the move fans phase, which at this point in the board early doesn't really matter. So we're just going to go ahead and press start and skip it. Basically, the move fans phase, you can take a certain number of fans from any specific territory and move them to a different territory. All right, so you guys can see we're on turn 2 now. Here in the bottom right hand corner, we have 6 territories, and now since we have those extra fans, we now have 8 million fans. We have 3 million in this territory right here, so we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to send one guy up here, and then we're going to send another one after all these CPU moves. We're going to send another one right here. And now we have no more eligible moves for the attack phase since everything is at 1. We are now on the second steal fans phase, and once again, guys, we're just going to skip it. All right, now we're in the second reinforce phase, and once again, down on the bottom left, you can see we have 2 reinforcements remaining, and that's because we only have 8 territories. If we had 9 territories, we would be getting a 3rd reinforcement, but we only have 2 extra territories. We still need 1 more to get that extra 1. So once again, we're just going to throw them all right here in this territory, and we're going to go ahead and skip the move fans phase, and we're just going to go ahead and keep attacking up here. All right, we're on the next steal fans phase. Once again, we're going to skip, and you guys can see now that we have more than 9 territories, we have 3 reinforcements. So every 3 spaces, you get another million fans to reinforce. So we're going to put all of these guys in here. We now have 4 million fans in this territory. The move fans phase, what you can do is you can move fans towards the stronghold. I'm actually going to go ahead and put one in there because, like I said, normally I would just continue to go after this and I wouldn't even worry about my stronghold right here in the beginning, but I feel like the CPU this year is super aggressive. I don't know if they changed the logic from years past, but I'm just going to go ahead and put 1 more fan in here just to make it a little bit tougher for them to actually try and take my stronghold. We're going to go up here with the attack phase. We're going to go over here as well. We're going to go ahead and rinse and repeat. We're going to skip the steel fans. We're going to put all our reinforcements into this one. I think I'm going to put another fan in here just to keep reinforcing that stronghold because I don't want to really worry about them trying to take it. So we're just going to keep doing this. Throw this guy over here, throw this guy over here, and boom, we're gonna skip to another steel fans phase. And really, you just want to repeat this cycle over and over and over again. And once we actually get to a point where there's no more free territories on the map, you guys will see what we do. Let me get to that point really quickly right here. I'm gonna send these guys over here, boom. I'm gonna continue to get these territories, and by the next turn, we'll probably end up matching with one of these other teams, and I'll show you exactly what you're supposed to do. So skip to reinforce. We're going to reinforce all of these fans right here in this one. You guys can see right over here, the Twins have 3 million fans in this territory. They're going to probably go after this one right here, which is exactly why I wanted to reinforce a little bit for my stronghold. We're still not going to worry about that right now. We're going to go ahead and skip to the attack phase, and we're going to finish out this little area of the map right here, so that way I can get the most amount of fans possible, and boom. All right, so this is where it gets interesting, guys. You can see I still have 2 million fans in this territory, so I can technically go after one of these 2, but I'm not going to do that because basically anytime you have one of these games where you have to go after another team's territory, you just press X on the one you want to go to, and it's going to bring you to this screen where it's going to show you basically the matchup. You can play the game on any of these difficulties, or you can simulate the game. You never want to play these games. It's similar to Steel Fans. You don't want to have to play more games than you're already going to need to play. So you're always going to want to simulate these games, but I only recommend simulating if you get a high chance In the early parts of the game, fans are kind of at a premium, so you need to get as many as you can. So you don't want to risk losing this game. Even if you beat them, that's cool. You might win them here and there, but I definitely just recommend waiting until you get a high chance to win. So what you're going to want to do right here is you're just going to want to go ahead and skip to Steel fans, leave the 2 million fans in that one right there, and then just keep going with them the next turn. But as you guys can see over here, like I said, the Twins, they're being a little bit more aggressive. They're coming after my stronghold a little bit. They have 2 million fans to my 3, so I might put 1 or 2 in there just to reinforce it a little bit more to make sure I'm safe. So now we're on the reinforce phase. I'm going to put all of them except for 1 into that one, and then I'm going to put 1 more into my stronghold just to make sure I'm okay right there. And then I'm going to actually move this fan from the 2 fan space over to the 8, so now I have 9 in there. So my lead territory still has the most. So now, as you guys can see, as I start going after some of these territories, I now have a high chance of winning this simulated game. Every now and then you might lose one, but you still want to at least give yourself the best opportunity to win and keep as many fans as you can. So I'm just going to continue to do that. I'm going to take this from the Mariners, boom, 5-0. I'm going to go ahead and take this free space up in the top left-hand corner. I'm going to go after this one right here. This is still going to be a high probability, and pretty much anything after this is going to be a low probability, and I ended up losing all my fans off that anyway, but I still got the territory. All right, now one thing to keep in mind right here before we go into the next turn, I have 4-1 right here. I'm definitely not going to simulate this. I'm not going to risk losing any fans in my stronghold, but if the path is broken at all between your stronghold and any of the territories that have more than 1 fan, you're not going to be able to reinforce that territory. So I can kind of get to that. I'll probably see an example of that, so I'm just going to continue going right here. Skip to Steel fans. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the reinforce phase, and I'm going to put all my reinforcements up into this guy right here. So I'm going to have 10 million fans, and I'm going to go ahead and bet that one of these ones right here that are next to my stronghold is going to end up being taken by one of the other teams. So let's see what happens. We're going to start attacking this one up here. Let's see if they start taking anything near my stronghold. They have, yeah, okay, so they took 1. If this line is broken, I won't be able to do anything with these 9 million fans up here until the line is connected again. So I'm going to go ahead and go after this one right here, another high probability of a win, so obviously I'm going to go ahead and simulate that game. So they still haven't taken it, and now I think both of these are going to result in a medium chance, 7-2, yeah, so once again, I'm not even going to risk it. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the Steel fans, get more reinforcements for that guy, skip to reinforce. I've got 7 million fans, and the line is still connected, but it's probably going to be broken in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these guys in here. So I'm going to have 16 million fans in that one, and I'm going to skip to the attack phase, and I'm going to go after some of these right here, and most likely this territory right here, right above my stronghold, is most likely going to be gone, which means I am going to be screwed for a little bit, but I want to give you guys an example of how that even works. And oh, looks like I actually won the territory game. That's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and go back up here and take all of these and continue to surround the Seattle Mariners with my territories. All right, so this is an interesting one. I have 13 million fans up here right above the Mariners territory, or the Mariners stronghold, and I have the 4 million right here that's kind of getting surrounded. And once again, if they take this stronghold right here, or this territory right above the 4, then I can no longer really do anything with the 13 million fans. So what I'm gonna actually do right here is I'm gonna skip. I know I have 13 million, but I am going to skip to the Steel fans phase. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to reinforce, and I'm gonna put all my reinforcements up into this one with 13 million fans. So now I have 22 million fans. I'm gonna skip to the attack phase, and now this right here is going to allow me to play the game on veteran against the Seattle Mariners. Any of the stronghold games you have to play, you cannot simulate. And really, you know yourself as a player, so you know what difficulty you can play on, but there's no reason to make it hard. I wouldn't play on anything over veteran. I mean, when you have the chance to just pretty much continue to simulate games and get the higher matchup, you might as well play on one of the easier difficulties. The higher number of fans you have versus the lower number of fans they have, the more parity between those two numbers is what's going to make the difficulty easy. So basically, you're just going to go ahead and play this game against the Mariners. You're going to play it on veteran. You're going to beat the Mariners, and then you're going to capture the Mariners stronghold. And then from there, guys, it's literally the same cycle over and over and over again, pretty much until you capture all 30 strongholds on the map, or 31 technically if you include the one you start in. You're just doing the same cycle. You're just gonna skip the steel fans, you're gonna go after the strongholds, you're gonna reinforce in your lead territory, take as many spaces on the map as you can, and that really is the name of the game when it comes to Conquest. It is not as complicated as the tutorial makes it seem. Like I said, I don't think that the tutorial does a good job. I think they make it way more complicated than it needs to be. But yeah, I hope this gave you guys an idea of what to do in the Conquest mode. If it helped you, like I said, hit the thumbs up button. If you have any more questions about the game mode, feel free to let me know in the comments so I can go down there and maybe answer a couple more questions. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.